to the next video. In today's video I will show you how to create an Android plugin for doing HTTP networking for Godot Game Engine. Now I know what all you might be thinking, that why do we need to create a separate Android plugin for networking? I can do that in GD script or C# in the Godot Game Engine itself. But just hear me out. Suppose if you are trying to do background operation using work manager, like you are trying to call an API, that you will have to create an Android plugin for it, right? And for doing that networking stuff in background operation, it's better to do it on the Android side itself. So that could be a one case. Second case would be, suppose if you are trying to do an image picker or video picker, then you will have to open the library using some Android plugin or write your custom Android code for that. And suppose then you will have to upload that image to S3 or some cloud provider. Then again you will require HTTP networking. Then sending that image from your Android plugin to the Godot side and then uploading it via GD script would be a lot of hassle. So for those kind of situation, I think it's better to do it on the Android side itself. So yeah, let's get started. So firstly, what you will have to do, so this is the output, like I'm just showing some output over here, and this is the JSON placeholder type icode.com/post API which I'm using, and it gives you a list of an array of JSON objects, but I'm just showing one of them. So here you can see I'm just showing the title property inside my project. Like on the Godot side, I'm sending this title property as a string, but if you want you can send a list as well. Yeah, the purpose of this video is to how to do networking on the Android side for Godot developers. So firstly, what you will have to do is create an Android project using Android Studio. It can be an empty views project or a Jetpack Compose project, doesn't really matter. Once you create that project, what you will have to do is you will have to go to the Android drop down. You will have to right click on app, new, module, select my Android library. Here you can change the name to whatever you want, change the package name to whatever you want, and click finish. I have already created it, so won't create it again. Next, inside your library, open Kotlin plus Java, and here I have, firstly you will have to open this build.gradle.kts, and here I am using Godot 4.2.1 at the time of this recording, so I'm using that version. But if you are using some higher version, make sure you check this version on Maven Central as well. And also I am using this retrofit because this retrofit dependency help us to do networking on the Android side. And I have also like added this JSON library for retrofit. It is helpful for JSON parsing and all that kind of stuff. So I have included this too, and then just click on sync now at the top. Once you do that, first you will have to create an interface. So like I told you, the complete URL is this this followed by like type icode.com/post. so here /todos, sorry, /todos. So here you don't need to enter the entire base URL. You can just enter whatever is unique to this particular URL. So todos is unique, and it is a get request, and it returns a list of data, and it returns a list of to do response. So if you see the to do response, it is a data class. It is kind of like a Pojo class if you know Java. So here in Kotlin we called it to do, and it returns a user ID, title, and completed value. So I have assigned data types according to that. And yeah, that's it. So here is simple get request. This suspending function means we will use coroutines for it, but the actual calling of this network on a background thread is internally managed by retrofit, so we don't have to worry about that. Next, you will have to go to your Godot Android plugin, and here I am extending from Godot plugin as well as lifecycle owner, and this is the boilerplate code for lifecycle. We are using lifecycle because we want to make use of coroutines. Then I have created an OK HTTP client and the timeout is 3 minutes, read timeout is also 3 minutes. And then we have to create a retrofit instance as well and pass the OK HTTP client. So here you will have to pass the base URL with make sure you add this / as well at the end. And here I have added a converter factory of JSON converter factory. Then I have created my service class, which we have defined it as an interface. Then here I have defined our plugin. Again, this plugin name can be anything, but make sure you remember this plugin name because we will be using this in a lot of other places as well. Then I have overridden this get plugin signals method, and I have added a test signal over here. and here I have created this method which Godot will call from its side. And once here I'm just calling retrofit.getData, and if you remember, this get data is defined over here. So if I go back, and once I get the data, this is a list of data, but I'm just getting the first item inside the list and just passing the title. But you can pass the entire list as well. If you are sending the list, then here you will have to change the data type of your signal as well. Once you do that, you will have to go to android manifest.xml. First add this internet permission, because we are making an HTTP call, and this I have just copied from the Godot docs. This should be your package name and this should be your plugin name. And if you are confused, so this is your package name which you can find, and this is your plugin name. So add appropriately inside your android manifest.xml. Once you do that, you can go to the project drop down, go to your library, create a folder called export scripts template. Inside that, create a file called export_plugin.gd, and I have literally copy pasted everything from the documentation. The only thing which you will have to change is this should be your own plugin name, okay, and you will have to add one more method called get_android_dependency, and here you will have to add all the dependency which we have added inside build.gradle. So I've added retrofit, I have added retrofit converter JSON, and also we have to add this coroutines android and lifecycle dependency. Even though we haven't added this inside build.gradle, they are not directly shipped with the Godot Android template, so we need to add this as well, this two dependency. So yeah, that's how this looks like. Next, you will, in the same folder, you will have to create a file called plugin.cfg. Again, I have copy pasted everything from the docs. The only thing which you will have to change is this plugin, and change the description and author according to whatever you feel like. Once that is done, what you will have to do, you will have to cd to your android project. So over here, open terminal, cd to your android project, and then you will have to run this command. So I'll show you what command that is, this command. So once you run this command, if you go to your android project, go to your library, build, outputs, AR, and here you should see two AR files. Currently here you are seeing only one, because inside for the debug I copy pasted it inside my Godot folder, whereas for the release AR file I cut pasted it. That's why you are not seeing the release one, but here you should see two AR files. Next, you will have to create your Godot project. Inside your Godot project, create a folder called add-ons. Inside that, create a folder with your plugin name, and then create a folder called bin, and inside bin create two folders, debug and release. Now you will have to copy this debug file to the debug folder and release file to the release folder. So I'll show you that, but there is a little bit of catch as well. So my plugins, bin, debug, and here you can see I have copied the debug file to the debug folder, but you have to change the file name, so it should be your plugin name -debug.aar. Similarly for release as well, your plugin name -release.aar. Then you also need to copy this export plugin.gd and plugin.cfg file to my plugins folder, or whatever is your plugin name folder. So I have copied those two files as well. Next, go to project, click on install android build template. I have already done that. Then click export, then click add android, and here you will have to check this use Gradle build. At the bottom you might be seeing a fix import button, just click on that. Here you can select whatever architecture your android device you are trying to run on. If you don't know, select all four of those architecture. And next you will have to go to project settings, say go to plugins, and make sure you check this checkbox as well. Once you check this checkbox, next here I have just taken a label inside my UI, and this should be your plugin name. I have attached one script, so this should be your plugin name. And on inside on ready, I have just initializing our plugin, and I am connecting our test signal as well. And once the android plugin is ready, I am just calling the call API method which we have defined on the android plugin side. And once we get a signal, I am just updating our text for label. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.